Welcome back to TJ Walker Interactive. This is our live question and answer period. Every day at 2 p.m. right here on tjwalker.com, we take your questions live. TJ, making news today, Steve Martin. Question coming from answers.com about the Steve Martin incident, something that you could read here on tjwalker.com. He was giving a lecture, a question and answer session here in New York City at the 92nd Street Y. The question from Richard is more along the lines of, what do you do when your audience is getting bored? What happened at 92nd Street Y was that Steve Martin was doing a question and answer period, talking too much about art. That's what his new book is about. Restlessness in the audience. He wasn't talking about his comedy, his wild and crazy antics. Audience got a full refund for it. So they were not too happy. But what do you do, Richard wants to know, when your audience is just not responding to what you're talking about?
Well, two different situations. In general, you should be responsive to your audience, I believe. You should be looking. If they're falling asleep, you're doing something wrong. If they look puzzled, ask them, hey, am I making sense? Interact with your audience. Now, I'm not saying Steve Martin did something horrible and that he should have just come out and done a stand-up routine from 1979, but they might have wanted to have the audience members ask questions sooner. One of the things I don't like about the 92nd Street Y, and I've been there in a lot of these big forums, is they're so stuffy, and that the official moderator asks all the questions, and then the people, the low-level masses, have to wait till the very end to toss theirs out. Why not have the questions come interspersed throughout? I think that would allow the audience to feel they're more a part of it and to feel as though they're not having something crammed down their throats. Now, it's inevitable, doesn't matter how good a communicator you are, at some point you're going to bomb, and apparently Steve Martin did. I don't necessarily blame him. Part of the problem is how you actually position a speech, a presentation event. If it's just an evening with Steve Martin, it may have attracted a lot of people who want to hear about what they know him best for, his movie star days, his Saturday Night Live days. If you're going to position it as just this new book conversation, it needs to be positioned the same way. If you go to see the Rolling Stones and they only want to play music from their new album, that's okay as long as that's said in every single advertisement and banner. But if you're going to hear the great hits, you're going to be disappointed too. I do want to give credit to Steve Martin for handling it with class, where he said, I happen to know they don't only have fantastic speakers who are great all the time, because they've had me twice. So self-deprecating humor, kind of a dig at them, making light of the situation, and an intelligent comment. If it were me, I would probably, and if I'm Steve Martin, I would have said, well, excuse me, next time I'll come with a big phony arrow over my head. But you know what, I'm not Steve Martin. I'm not as funny or as subtle as he is. Mike?
TJ, someone who was not subtle was a man in Norway. The incident, which you could see here on a video link at tjwalker.com, was live broadcast on Norwegian television, and in the background of the reporter asking an individual question, well, a man got naked.
And will we put that on tjwalker.com?
Just a link to the video.
Right.
So the question, TJ, is this. Whether it's as an extreme example as that, or just your general run-of-the-mill interview where you see a nudnik standing behind the reporter, if you're in the place of the reporter, if you're in the place of the person being interviewed, and these distractions are going on, and it is a live broadcast, what should you do? You know, we have the sort of tendency to look behind us, be startled, almost want to stop, but if it's live TV, you can't really do that. So what should you do if you're in that situation?
Well, if you're the reporter, you're going to earn points and develop a reputation for class if you can react to it, perhaps even with a little humor, and not just freeze and not panic. So if something like that were to happen, just say, you know, please excuse us on behalf of Channel 3 or tjwalker.com. Want to apologize to you viewers at home for having to see that. That's kind of the straightforward way. You can look classy that way. If you're clever and can have some sort of a quip and say, well, he's obviously a very cold gentleman, isn't he? Something like that that's a little bit of a sting, that can help too. But the worst thing is to just, you know, pretend like nothing happened. It won't fool anyone. Then you'll be made fun of. If you can react to it in a way that makes you seem like you're on top of the situation and not flustered, you'll develop an even better reputation for yourself as an on-air personality.
Certainly We all wish that we could be like David Niven at the Oscars one year when a streaker came by and said, I believe his line was something to the effect of, "That's the biggest laugh he'll ever get," obviously referring to, well, him being naked. So, TJ, final question on reputation management. Another story, an image that you could see here on tjwalker.com. Scott Disick, if you're not familiar with him or the Kardashians, he is the partner of Kourtney Kardashian. He was shown giving charity, $100 to a homeless man. But, TJ, he's being derided for the image of him sort of looking blankly with a smirk and a smug look on his face as he gives this person the $100 bill. Talk a little bit about your reputation management in a situation like this. Even when you're doing something good for someone, he's getting lambasted for it.
Now, he may be a wonderful guy, but from the little bits I've seen of him on reality TV, he's always coming across as crass, argumentative, shallow, superficial. He's in this shallow, superficial world of reality TV. It's very hard to go from that and quickly transfer yourself and transition yourself into Mr. Philanthropist. It's only natural that the media hold you to a higher level of skepticism, especially when you're sort of like obviously holding a $100 bill in front of cameramen, in front of photographers, to a homeless man. It just looks a little too cute. It's too cute by half. Mike?
TJ, that's all the time that we have for our question and answer period. Again, live every day at 2 p.m. with your questions. So if you're watching this on demand, type them into the video box that you're watching on or visit us at tjwalker.com every day at 2 p.m. live.